Another day, another bit of running around and finding various upgrades as we keep pushing forward in unknown territory. Unfortunately, while the territory we're going through is more interesting than many other areas we've gone through in the game so far, I just can't help thinking they could have done even more. Again, not entirely sure what my expectations were going from Metroid Prime 2 to 3. I just know that I hyped myself up and this game is not living up to the expectations. Not really much I can do to avoid that kind of problem, that's for sure. You know, considering we flew through the pirates' own tunnel network in order to get from one part of the base to another, you'd think they'd have at least some token defenders on the landing pad. Again, we're not exactly subtle. They most certainly know we're on the planet and ready to cause some mayhem if and where we can. Wish I could find it in me to ask how the hell we're able to operate a handprint sensor when our hand isn't even the same general shape of the one we placed ours on top of here. I mean, I don't care how good at hacking our suit is. That sensor should notice that we are a 5-fingered individual trying to operate a 3-fingered machine. I mean, it's not like we've ever seen any pirates that happen to be human. Humans only seem to work for the Federation, at least I assume the people in the marine outfits are human behind their visors. I know, that's yet another thing I'm probably not supposed to think about around here. 26 clips into the third game of a long trilogy, after playing through 6 shorter 2D games, my mind's going to wander. Especially since as great as this franchise generally is at environmental storytelling and gameplay, it's not all that great at telling us about the universe that we've been working in. Just the immediate place we happen to be in as we work. How many times in this game so far have we seen kamikaze, bat-shaped enemies that we haven't had time to scan before they get themselves killed? I'm pretty sure it wasn't as troublesome to scan them in the previous 2 games of this series. But, maybe I'm just misremembering. I somehow doubt that counts as Toxis for us now. We've already got Phazon in our veins. Right. Apparently, we're back to dealing with fragile critters for the moment. I kind of wish that the creatures that were spawned via Phazon felt more scary to deal with than some of the others. But again, maybe I'm just way too used to danger at this point. Damn tough to make the player go, oh shit, when they've dealt with a lot of pressure over the years, and this doesn't feel anything like a pressurized situation. Okay, saw that crap of a ledge. I just didn't manage to jump high enough for it that time. Annoying, but not nearly as embarrassing as not noticing the grabbable ledge at all. Definitely my fault. The green lines certainly feel like a damn good indicator for that sort of thing, and I just didn't notice it as fast as I should in the previous 2 clips. Okay, so we've got a more complicated maze than usual, where we have to unlock each section in order to move on to the next. As if I needed more evidence that they put more thought into the map of this planet than the previous 2. Nothing I would really call a brain teaser, but considering how asleep my brain feels after everything else we've gone through, I'm sure I might stumble more than I probably should have here. another energy tank. I'm not about to check my footage of the previous two Metroid Primes while still working on this one, but yeah, we are definitely in much better shape health-wise than I think we were in previous adventures. Hell, I'm running out of fingers to count how many we have on us right now. When we finally run into Ridley for the inevitable rematch, he's going to have a hell of a time making that fight feel particularly tense. And what about poor Dark Samus? I'm pretty sure her main motive for doing all of this is still to get back at Samus for killing her in the first Metroid Prime. And yet, we are still far beyond what she would be capable of taking on in a fight, despite the fact that she's being treated as a galactic-level threat, even without the pirate army following her orders now. I should not be feeling so sorry for the enemies we've got to beat in order to beat this story. They are literally supposed to be unsympathetic monsters. Part of me wants to bother asking why we had to repair one of those things on the pirate homeworld. The other has to admit that drawing an S is oddly satisfying. I'm not too sure why. All I know for sure at this point is that I'm going to have to look ahead and find a good point to end this clip, because there's no way I'm doing a 40-minute plus clip. Samus, I know your shoulder pads are massive, but please be able to raise your arm a little higher. I know that the precision stuff is more of an emulator problem than a game problem in itself, but still, really making it tough for me to believe Nintendo is going to be able to make this game work too well in a more conventional control scheme. This game was specifically designed for a specific control style that doesn't translate well to a gamepad or a mouse and keyboard. Trust me, I've been trying hard to do just that, and even though I'm fairly confident I can get to the end of the game, there are still issues here. Hell, the only other Wii games I can think of that I could possibly play with little control issues are Samurai Warriors 3 and the Wii version of Punch-Out! I don't really know enough about the Wii Fire Emblem game to know if that's going to be an issue if I try it here. And considering that the Switch gives you the option to just not bother with motion control ridiculousness, I get the feeling Nintendo has realized that gimmick isn't as massive a thing as they thought it would be. Maybe when virtual reality starts getting to Matrix franchise levels of jacking people in, or maybe just Sword Art Online, we can evolve past gamepads and pushing buttons for controls. Of course, part of me can't help wondering if we get to that level of technology, will we also have the ability to just upload the entire human consciousness into the digital world, and we are essentially immortal then? Or if that's going to require some more leaps in digital technology. Probably not worth thinking about all that hard right now. I should probably focus more on getting through this next puzzle. I have the feeling the spider ball might be close, but I'm possibly wrong about that. Okay, need to go back for some reason. Okay, where did we end up now? Well, it's about time the alarm got raised around here. Stealth hasn't even been an option for us, and I can't help feeling we should have been noticed on the planet back in the previous clip. Now let's just see what kind of response the bastards have for us setting off the alarm. Okay, that's a different armor configuration for these pirates. Ah, so they've regained the ability to teleport that I thought they'd lost after Aether. I suppose it's good to know that they keep managing to salvage bits of research their teams did, despite the research teams being absolutely mangled in the previous two Metroid Primes. can't really tell if the missiles or plasma beam are more effective against these guys. All I know is we took down both and only lost half of a single energy tank. They are an improvement over earlier pirates in this game. Hard to deny that, but it's not enough of an improvement considering the sheer amount of health and firepower we have. The pirates are just obscenely outclassed, and we're not done grabbing upgrades. Just how much worse for these guys is this gonna get before we're done with this planet? Feels like we just set off another alarm and I can't find it in me to be worried. Again, Samus is not generally the subtle type when we're working with her. Hell, I think she has more moments of being forced to be subtle in the 2D games. The SAX Infusion, the hacked Federation robots in Grid, the time when we lost the Viera suit in Zero Mission. Yeah, definitely feels like I look at the 2D games more fondly. I was not expecting that when I started LPing this franchise. But hey, it's nice to learn more about my own preferences when working on these Let's Plays. I wonder if I'll have the same feeling when I get around to working on the Legend of Zelda games. It's certainly not the case with platformers like Mario. I prefer 3D over 2D there. What vows of fealty do you guys even have, anyway? I'm fairly certain that Mother Brain was also pretty callous with your lives. Ridley and Kraid were never that type of leader to run an entire operation. And frankly, the shift from Dark Samus is a plague and we are cursed to we will serve her feels too abrupt. But then pretty much anything would feel abrupt since, again, in the previous game, Dark Samus was a Jason Voorhees-style constantly reviving monster that was determined to make sure Samus dies, and in this game, she's for some reason trying to take over the galaxy by controlling all things Phazon somehow. There was no build-up to it. All we saw was that Dark Samus managed to reform herself even after she had been in a collapsing alternate dimension version of the planet. Well, these shield guides certainly aren't as durable as the commandos. Not really surprising, but why were we introduced to these guys after we had already run into the commandos twice? Now that the pirates in the room are dealt with, I assume we're gonna have to do something to deactivate the force fields in the area and let the Metroids in it loose. I kind of wish I could feel nervous about doing that, but again, we are all too capable at this point. I wouldn't go so far as to say we're essentially invulnerable, but it's just hard to imagine anything we've run into so far being enough of a threat that we could die. And that is most certainly making me feel arrogant enough that I probably deserve to be knocked down a peg or three. Well, of course they do. If the environments are different, then they're gonna have different things they need to adapt to. It's probably not enough to call it outright evolution, but considering how freaky the Metroids are, it's not too surprising that we've got Talon 4 Metroids, Phazon Metroids, Aether Metroids, and the Metroids from their own world that I can never remember the number of. All similar, but different to one another. Right. Think this is another thing we need the X-ray visor on to get through. There we go. was expecting that to be a gate that opened, not another elevator. More welding to do. I know that when we gain the next beam upgrade, we're still going to be able to weld things. But will the laser we shoot to do so change color? It's probably not all that important, but it's something I feel is worth asking as we trace another awkward line. Back up we go then. But apparently we're supposed to grab something before we go up there and try to push forward some more. Right. 4 cells so far, and who knows how many more we're gonna grab before we start spending them, and now the Metroids are gonna be wandering around freely. Again, I wish I could feel worried, but considering how we handled them on Elysia, when they could supposedly phase through walls and all that crap, I just don't see why we need to feel worried. Yeah, that one died almost instantly after we saw it. How the hell are we supposed to gain another beam upgrade when the current beam is already this damn powerful? Missile upgrade, huh? Just how many upgrades have we grabbed over the course of this game anyway? Hell, how many upgrades are there left to grab in the game, considering how many we've seen so far? Kind of an odd elevator, but not the strangest way we've gone from place to place in this series, much less this franchise. And for some odd reason, I dropped from there, so we have to go back up again. Not much of a delay, but still annoying. Right, another door open for us. Right. Need to use a bomb to break that tunnel entrance open. Okay, can't go that direction with the rain and our lack of special anti-rain shield. Is it just me, or are the environmental hazards in this game just less interesting than the previous 2 Metroid Primes? How many times am I going to compare this game unfavorably with the other 2 Metroid Primes? This is the finale, the 3rd game in an explicit trilogy, but it just feels like the least impressive game to me, and it's not like I felt the previous 2 were perfect by any means. Thought we could go a bit higher there. Anyway, time to leave since there's nothing else here for us as far as I can see. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a waste of time to go this direction since we gained an upgrade, but still, not much in there, and there's no reason for us to go in that direction again. Have I mentioned that it's odd that the Metroids just don't drain us of much health when they latch onto us around here? It just feels like Metroids are at their weakest in this game for some reason, and I have no clue why considering how many clips it took for us to run into them in this game. Been a while since we did the whole wall jump thing. My mistake. Apparently we can't go up that way just yet. Need to do a little something extra first. There we go. Bit interesting that they had to have us do that in order to open the way forward a little bit. Not really a brain teaser, though. And it doesn't really make up for the fact that the level design in this game in general has been pretty iffy. Part of me wants to laugh that we managed to get by all those enemies with little to no trouble as they spawned in. Huh. What's prompting this bit of cutscene here? Huh. Apparently that upgrade got some extra attention. I'm assuming that's the armor upgrade we're gonna need to walk through the rain without getting burned. Now the question is, how do we get over there? Okay, so how are we supposed to rotate that thing, and how do we get into it while it rotates? Definitely gonna be ending this clip soon, though. So I doubt we'll see whatever the answer is. Huh. Guess we're finally running into the man who was calling for help in the previous clip multiple times. Well, those guys certainly changed targets in a hurry. Understandable considering how many pirates we've killed in this game alone, much less the rest of the franchise.
Samus, thank the stars, it's you. I thought I was a dead man. I think I can help you get to the seed.
Well, I certainly expect so, considering how linear this game has been so far.
However, I've seen the pirates using a special suit shield that protects them from the elements.
I'd kind of prefer something that protects us from lava than from acid, mostly because I'm old-fashioned and remember the games where lava was our biggest issue. Yeah, we already figured that's where we need to go. That doesn't tell us how to get there, though.